Good afternoon and welcome to the news. I am Doreen Kalohko. Coming up in this edition, Sierra Leone's Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria expresses gratitude to President Anesbari Kroma, the government and the people of Sierra Leone for securing his release from kidnappers. Sierra Leone joins the world to observe World Population Day. Parliamentary Oversight Committee expresses dismay over the constructions of tech vote centers in Kabbalah. Residents of Elcourt Road expressed concern over the delay in the construction of the Elcourt Road. All the stories, including business and sports, lined up in this edition of News Hour. Sierra Leone's Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria, Major General retired Alfred Claude Nelson Williams, has expressed profound gratitude to President Anesbari Kroma, the government and people of Sierra Leone for their effort in securing his release from kidnappers. The general was speaking while having audience with President Anesbari Kroma at State House. Razia Bashkamara sent us this report.
The Deputy High Commissioner, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Samura Kamara, said the Deputy High Commissioner was kidnapped by unknown criminals in the evening of the 31st of June this year. He maintained that fortunately, through President Kuruma's intervention and that of the Nigerian government, the Deputy High Commissioner was released on the 5th of this month. Speaking on the delegation that the President instructed to lead to Nigeria to collaborate with the Nigerian authorities, Dr. Samura Kamara said on the delegation's return, they decided on the advice of the Nigerian authorities that the Deputy High Commissioner needed to come to Sierra Leone. Giving glory to God Almighty and acknowledging that indeed God is in control, Major General retired Alfred Claude Nelson Williams expressed deep and profound thanks and appreciation to His Excellency the President for his prompt and timely response in securing his release, and secondly, for the warm reception he gave to his family. He also expressed gratitude to President Kuruma for mobilizing the government and people of Sierra Leone, including members of the Fourth Estate, in securing his speedy release. Welcoming the Deputy High Commissioner and family, President Kuruma said as a government and nation, they were very anxious and saddened when they heard the news, but the family showed great courage and supported the government in the process. As they all rallied round as a government, nation and family, they all went through a very difficult period. He thanked President Muhammadu Buhari, the government and the people of Nigeria for the support they provided so quickly, and disclosed that government was in discussions with them, during which time he quickly dispatched a high-level delegation to Nigeria. President Kuruma noted with satisfaction that based on the collaborative efforts made by them and with the help of God Almighty, they secured his release.
That went out there, even though they got news about the release before they arrived, but I think they've had subsequent meetings with the authorities there. And we hope that very soon we will put a closure to this chapter. I think there are still outstanding issues that have to be dealt with, and we hope that they will be concluded shortly, so that we put a closure and then we can come out stronger and better as a nation. We don't want any Sierra Leonean to be subjected to these kinds of things, because any one of us subjected to it is an issue for the whole country. So that is why I must also thank the general public for the support, the messages of encouragement, the prayers they offered, and it has all amounted to where we are today.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Samura Kamara, briefed newsmen on the unfortunate kidnapping of Major General retired Alfred Nelson Williams.
The Deputy High Commissioner was released around 1600 hours on the 5th of July 2016 again along the Abuja-Kaduna highway by his captors after intense pressure mounted by the Nigerian police, using both land and air patrols. The Major General retired, was in good condition at the time of release, good condition of health, but upon his request, was examined very, very thoroughly by the Nigerian police medical team. And I believe he was given appropriate medication. He was reunited with his colleagues in the High Commission in Nigeria immediately after his release, and then subsequently with his family on Sunday, yesterday, 10th of July 2016.
Let me start by saying that I was on an official duty. That's why nobody can dispute that. And that after I applied, I got the approval in the evening hours from Her Excellency Hafsa to Kaba, and then I took off. We met a snap checkpoint. They were dressed in military fatigue. In fact, we were inside Ibadan, Kaduna. And normally, as any responsible citizen, if you come across a checkpoint where you see a soldier or a policeman, you have to stop. And they were asked to come down, and they started opening fire. Then later on, they told us that we've been abducted. They said that they wanted to get a point of contact. And the only person that I knew by then, for them to talk to, was my head of Her Excellency Hafsa Kaba. All communication done, it was done between Her Excellency, I don't know the people that he contacted, but I suffered a lot of ordeal. My life was threatened. I did not take my bath for 5 days, but I thank God that I'm alive due to Almighty God, the government and people of Sierra Leone, the collaborative efforts with the Nigerian government. Because they mounted surveillance and they were frightened, and they were also carving on them. As I'm now talking to you, I think they've arrested 1 or 2 people, but I don't want to jeopardize the investigation that is going on. But I think what is more important is that during my time of ordeal, in times of need, you people supported the government. So I thank you, and may God bless you.
Meanwhile, President Nasbai Nkrumah has received in audience the founding president of the Australia-Africa Chamber of Commerce and deputy chair for the Department of Foreign Affairs of the Australian government. Razia Bashkamara again.
Briefing President Nkrumah, Madam Fleming said it is a great pleasure to be in Sierra Leone, and that one of the main reasons she wrote to President Nkrumah is for her to share her work with African children. The president of the Australia-Africa Chamber of Commerce disclosed that she is aware that President Nkrumah has an agenda for prosperity, for which she is very excited to be in Sierra Leone. Madam Fleming added that she is also excited to share with President Nkrumah the comments and thoughts about Ansumana Nkrumah, who has been a friend but professional colleague for about 7 years and is a member of the Australia-Africa Commerce that is totally committed to Sierra Leone. She maintained that it was Mr. Nkrumah that presented a case to her and argued that it was her job to write to the Federal Minister for Health to argue that the Australian government had to increase its support for Sierra Leone, which they did together. Madam Fleming pointed out that those briefings have been very important, and she believes the Australian government's commitment to Sierra Leone during the Ebola efforts. Madam Fleming revealed that Ansumana Koroma used every network opportunity to raise the consciousness not just for Sierra Leoneans, but even raise the consciousness for Australians, which was why he received his award for his support to the Ebola orphans.
I think at the moment there are huge shoes to be filled when you finish your presidency, and I am quite emotional and moved by what I've seen, by what you've done. One can read, but seeing is believing, and I want to be back here next year with a delegation. I would love to come back with my chairman of GSIR, the 27th Prime Minister of Australia, Julia Gillard. She, like you, but she had less time, achieved great things, and she's been travelling with me in Africa and was with me in February, and we went to several places. We met with President Kagame. We also met together the Prime Minister, the President of Mauritius, and we're committed to our work in Africa, but we're committed to Sierra Leone.
Welcoming Madam Fleming to Sierra Leone, President Koroma said it has been a great pleasure to have somebody like her that has been an advocate and supportive of Sierra Leone even before visiting the country. The President expressed delight that she is finally in the country and that she will have an opportunity to have a feel of the country itself, to experience the warmth of the people and the great expectations that the government and the nation have. He added that as a nation, they have been through the good and difficult times, and that since independence, they have had their challenges, including 11 years of a very terrible civil war. President Koroma noted with appreciation that their people have shown a great amount of resilience, and that is why even when the war was declared over in 2002, quickly thereafter, the country built its democracy by having free and fair election. Quickly thereafter, the country built its democracy by having free and fair elections at all levels. President Koroma maintained that they reformed their institutions and systems, and by 2010 to 2011, as a government and nation, they positioned themselves as the second fastest growing economy in the world.
But having people like you out there who have been supportive by even welcoming our kith and kin that had cause to leave the country under the circumstances they left. But we are welcome out there, rehabilitated, given the kind of encouragement that was required, given opportunities to be educated and having educated themselves and playing that important role. I am very proud that we have people like Ansumana out there, and we need a lot of Ansumanas that we go out there as ambassadors of our country, showing and also telling the good stories of our country, what the Sierra Leonean can be. In him, as you have highlighted, I feel very proud that we can have a Sierra Leonean who has transformed himself, who has gotten into the society, and not only for his personal benefits or advancement, but he has been there influencing the minds of Sierra Leoneans in Australia, influencing the minds of Australians, and also influencing the policy direction of the government, so that a greater focus could be paid to countries like ours. I am very proud of him. I have been talking to him once in a while, and continue to encourage him to do more or to stay close in helping our people. I think we need help.
The Ministry of Information and Communications has started a 3-day staff verification exercise with the view of maintaining a clean payroll of the ministry. The exercise aims at translating the vision of President Kuma on transparency and accountability in the human resource capacity of the country. Abdul Samsise reports.
Bangura says the ongoing exercise conducted in the conference room of the ministry at UU building is in line with President Nkrumah's vision on transparency and accountability of the human resource capability with a focus to sustainable human development in the governance structure of the country. According to the Information Minister, the exercise will take full cognizance of ghost workers and those already slated for retirement according to government conditionalities.
It's a verification exercise which will enable us as a ministry to know the number of people that we have within our ministry. We don't want to carry ghost workers. That's the reason why we conducted this verification exercise. You come with your ID card, with your PIN code, and we look at the master sheet provided to us by the Human Resources Department. Well, there is a straightforward policy. If you have overage, you overage. Give room to new people. So we have also highlighted some of those we realize they are past the age of retirement for them to go for retirement. But that's the human resource will work closely with the various departments that are responsible for that. But for us as a ministry, as ministers, our own job is to highlight some of the challenges we are facing as a ministry and make the necessary recommendation.
Mr. Bangura also maintained that the downsizing of workers in the ministry, including the regional offices, will help to maintain the proper payroll of government workers. At the preliminary stage of the staff verification exercise, the Information Minister and team requested staff members to submit their original letters of appointment, staff identification card, and PIN code numbers since their enlistment into the various departments of the ministry. The verification exercise will end on Thursday, the 14th of July. For SLBC News Freetown, Abdul Samsise reporting.
The United Nations and Population Fund Country Representative Dr. Kim Eva Dixon has called on the government to empower teenage girls to contribute to decision-making in the country. She made the statement at a ceremony to mark World Population Day celebration at the Meta Conference Hall in Freetown. Haramose reports.
Reducing poverty and improving opportunity and well-being for many people around the world, hundreds of millions remain desperate for a chance of a better future. Among those lists served by previous development initiatives are girls, particularly those in their formative teenage years. Empowering teenage girls to acquire education and make free and formative choices, but their sexual and reproductive health stay in school. Acquire skills and participate fully in society helps them live healthier, richer lives and build stronger and more prosperous families. Teenage girls need the capacity, the means and the information to make personal life decisions, realize their full potentials and contribute meaningfully to society. The Deputy Minister of Finance and Economic Development, too, Momo Vandi, highlighted that the theme for the celebration is timely as it encourages both government and partners to put modalities in place how to invest in young people, especially teenage girls. Mr. Vandi disclosed that the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development has a critical role to play in population and development issues. This effort has been made to revitalize the population unit of the ministry in addressing population issues. The Deputy Minister of Finance stated that there is the need to empower teenage girls to make informed choices.
This year's theme is a contribution to the ongoing global debate on the imperative of investing in teenage girls to improve on their economic and social well-being, an issue that should be concerned with our national development strides. In our society today, teenage girls face much greater risk of abuse, sexual exploitation, violence, and forced marriages.
The teenage years are for some girls a time of exploration, learning and increasing autonomy. But for many others, it is a time of increasing vulnerability and exclusion from rights and opportunities, or just plain discrimination, says the United Nations Population Fund Country Representative Dr. Kim Eva Dixon. Dr. Dixon notes that when a teenage girl has the power, the means and the information to make her own decisions in life, she is more likely to overcome obstacles that stand between her and a healthy, productive future. This will benefit her, her family, and her community. She adds that Sierra Leone is ranked as the 15th country in Africa in terms of child marriage, as they are deprived from education, health, and social activities.
Every teenage girl has the right to a safe and successful transition to adulthood, and the right to embrace opportunities that the future holds for her. By prominently featuring girls' rights in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the international community responded enthusiastically to the evidence that investing in girls yields huge returns.
The United Nations Resident Coordinator Sunil Sagal says the international community has committed to a new sustainable development agenda built on the principles of equality and human rights. A central objective of the Sustainable Development Goals is to leave no one behind. The United Nations Resident Coordinator stated that despite significant gains made in reducing poverty and improving opportunity and well-being for many people around the world, Mayan Samai, who did a presentation on why invest in us teenage girls, appeals for a call to action, as many teenage girls are suffering too much in Sierra Leone, especially those in the rural areas. According to her, most of them are dropped out of school because of teenage pregnancy or child marriage. She appealed for more opportunities in terms of education and health, as they are also deprived from these facilities completely.
Girls are generally left behind in every aspect of society. Mr. Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to talk on why investing in us, teenage girls, is a smart choice for Sierra Leone and the world in general.
Director of Reproductive Health, Ministry of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Santiki Sise informed the gathering that reproductive health is one of President's key priorities, adding that young girls should make use of contraceptive provided in various government hospitals in reducing teenage pregnancy. Irish Ambassador to Sierra Leone, Dr. Snead Walsh, also pledged a continued support as they are now planning with the government to work on bridging programs for girls who are dropped out of school. SABC TV News Eye in Freetown, Hawa Mosiri reporting.
Sierra Leone's ambassador to the Republic of South Korea, Goli, has received a communique from the United Nations headquarters in New York expressing appreciation for his participation at the United Nations Department of Public Information NGO conference held in Korea. Lucian Ganda reports.
From the UN Under-Secretary General for Communications and Public Information, Christiana Galak, Ambassador Omri Michael Goli was commended for his role as one of the public speakers at this world event. The United Nations Conference, which met under the theme Education for Global Citizenship, Achieving the Sustainable Development Goals Together, was the first of its kind to be held following the unanimous adoption by all UN member states of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Its outcome, the Gwenju Action Plan, expressed the strong commitment of civil society to work towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, with particular emphasis on promoting education for global citizenship. Civil society representatives also expressed their continued support for the United Nations and urged member states to live up to their commitments. Ambassador Omri Goli was further congratulated by the UN Under-Secretary General in her letter for his role on making the conference an overall success. The decision of His Excellency Ambassador Omri Goli to participate on this year's event follows a courtesy call upon the ambassador made by the organizers of the conference in May this year, and an invitation extended to him at that meeting to speak at the World Gathering. The speech delivered by the ambassador at this conference was founded upon the strides made by the government of Sierra Leone in providing safe, inclusive, and accessible education for its young citizens. Newser, Lucian Ganda reporting.
Business Update is up next with Awana Tukonte.
Hello and welcome to the business update with me, Awana Tukonte. We begin with the foreign exchange rates. The US dollar buys at 6,025 leons and sells at 6,147 leons. The British pound sterling buys at 7,908 leons and sells at 8,072 leons. And the euro buys at 6,696 leons and sells at 6,832 leons, courtesy of the central bank. The impact of Brexit on development assistance from Britain to Sierra Leone is shrouded in uncertainties as the International Monetary Fund does not know what the policy of the new conservative government on immigration and development assistance will be when they take over the leadership later this year. Lucian Ganda has the story.
IMF country representative Yabu Masha, the UK is one of the key supporters of Sierra Leone in terms of budgetary support projects and support to health, the energy and education sectors, and public finance management. Madam Masha added that there are Sierra Leoneans who have settled in the United Kingdom and the rest of Europe, and remittances from them to support families and friends in Sierra Leone is key to the country's economy. According to the IMF country representative, substantial amounts of remittances are made from Sierra Leoneans based in the UK, and that any policy that limits immigration or the access of immigrants to jobs, and any policy that results in lower employment could mean decline in remittances to Sierra Leone. Business News, Lucian Ganda, Freetown.
The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund has completed the fifth review of Sierra Leone's performance under the economic program supported by an extended credit facility arrangement. According to a release issued by the IMF, completion of the review enables the disbursement of about $34.12 million, bringing total disbursement under the agreement to $226.45 million. In completion of the review, the IMF release adds, the Executive Board also approves the authority's request for an extension of the extended credit facility arrangement by about 2 months until the end of December this year. Sierra Leone's extended credit facility arrangement was approved by the Executive Board for about $86.86 million in October 2013 and was augmented twice. The arrangement supports government's economic reforms for stronger and more inclusive growth and also plays a catalytic role for bilateral and multilateral assistance. The proprietress of the Divine Grace Vocational Training Institute, Zainab Kadikanu, has said in Freetown that her investment in small-scale business has contributed to the country's private sector. She made the statement during the final assessment of students at the institute. The ceremony was held at the PWD Hall, Pademba Road in Freetown. Ivecha Score sent us this report.
Institute was established in 2007 as a way to complement government's efforts in the promotion of the country's middle-level manpower through vocational education. The institution, since its inception, has empowered over hundreds of young people, especially women, in various vocational skills training, such as catering and adult education, among others. Many of these trainees, upon completion, will be self-reliant and contribute to the country's economic growth. This food exhibition for the finalists is part of their final assessment and to showcase to the public and invigilators on what they have learned over the years. According to the proprietress, Divine Grace Vocational Institute, Zainab Kadikanu, empowering young people in earn better income has been a contribution over the years.
I see and fit say women in the house and they go astray. When I can go around, like the Lumley Beach, I see. So God inspired me for make me self go open the old school. We are going for train women, and men don't go just they pass up and down and treat hang back, they go office to office. So with the help of God, God make it possible for me, I able to open this small scale investment.
She added that a quest to invest in small-scale business is to contribute immensely to the promotion of entrepreneurship among young people.
In this 2016, I thank God because God don't make the students and they go through them, but it's not easy. But with God in grace, they're able to succeed, and today they do their final exam, for me they're able to graduate the 30th of July.
That's the business update. I'm Awana Tukonte. Keep watching.
Thanks, Awana Tukonte, for giving us updates on business. Well, from the business desk, we now move over to our sports desk as Francis Bernard is also to bring us sport updates.
Hello, it's Sports Updates on Newsa. I am Francis Banner. In sports right now, in order to foster peace and unity and also to bridge the political barriers in Kono district, the Kono Advisory Committee, KONAC, organized a unity gala in Kwedu town. 4 zones took part in the competition, with Zone 3 emerging as champion after defeating Zone 4 by 3-0. Sheku Sumaila has more.
Football gala at the Kwedu Mini Stadium, where Zone 3 won by defeating Zone 4 3-2. In the finals on Prey Day, the district has been divided into 4 zones. Stakeholders in the district, including the resident Minister East, Kalohko, and the mayor of Kwedu, were active in the pitch. Sierra Leone's ambassador to the United States, Bokari Stephen, also witnessed the match. He said football has the power to foster peace and development. Minister of State East, Kalohko, who played for Zone 3, the winning zone, said the Kono people are now ready to unite for development.
We are fostering and promoting peace in Kono district, and nobody else is going to do it. Our leaders, Madam Diana Konomani and former Balulu Kuruma, they have provided the leadership that is required in this district. From here, we are not going backwards. We are going to go like this now. We are going to play, we are going to work hard and play hard. After we finish playing, we are going back to working hard. It's going to be a progressive Kono district. Not anymore. We are not going to retrogress. So I feel great about this. I came here with a lot of excitement, exuberance, and I even missed the penalty in the process.
The deputy chairman of CONAC, Leonard Balogo Kuruma, said the gala is going to be an annual event to bring the people of Kono together. He said CONAC is not a political group, but has come to promote peace, unity, and development in the Kono district.
Football is a powerful tool. You can see the passion that supporters of football have all over the world. In the Premier League, in the ongoing European Cup, Iceland has a population of 300,000. But because of the advancement they made, almost half of the country was in Paris to support their team. So you can see the power of football in bringing people together.
Reporting for SLBC News, I'm Sheku Smaila.
Well, many thanks to Sheku Sumaila for that story. And now we go into the international scene and bring you some international sports story. We move to Arsenal as Thierry Henry has left Arsenal after manager Arsene Wenger said he could not combine his job with a television pundit with his role coaching the under-18 team. The 38-year-old Henry, who worked with Arsenal's youth players as part of his UEFA A license course, was not prepared to give up his media work. Former Gunners captain Tony Adams, 49, will take over as under-18 coach. Steve Bull will remain as Wenger's assistant, while Freddie Ljungberg will work with under-16. Henry, Arsenal's all-time leading goal scorer, must now find a team to coach in order to complete his pro license. The former France forward is employed as a television pundit by Sky Sports and worked for BBC Sport during Euro 2016. And now to another sport, Portugal were the winners, best suited to Euro 2016, unspectacular, not easy on the eye, but got the job done. The final in Paris on Sunday did not provide the happy ending the French wanted, as the hosts lost by 1-0 in extra time, and national mood reflected the feeling of many who have followed Euro 2016 around the country over the past month. Euro 2016 was a tournament that had odd highlights and big moments, but was not that eventually came up short on what it promised. Finally, for sports update, we move to athletics as Usain Bolt will defend both his Olympic 100 meters and 200 meter titles and the 4x100 meter relay title after being named in Jamaica team for Rio 2016. There had been worries over his participation after he injured a hamstring at the national trials. Well, Sierra Leone also is preparing to move to Rio, where they will participate in the Rio Games. As yesterday, the Sierra Leone Swimming Association received their confirmation as they will be participating in the swimming competition in Brazil later this year. Well, that's all we can provide for you in this edition of Sports Update. I am Francis Barnard.
Thanks to Francis. We'll take one more story before we close the news. The Sorghum Farmers Association is calling on the government to facilitate the speedy implementation of the Finance Act 2016 to encourage local manufacturers to absorb a greater percentage of sorghum, resulting in a considerable change in lives of farmers and their households. Rose Konima Stevens reports.
In the past 10 years, the Sierra Leone Farmers Association has made tremendous efforts in sorghum production, which has impacted the country's economy and making reliable income for sorghum growing farmers.
Yeah, it has a tremendous impact in the economy across all the value chain. The first beneficiary of this impact is our art grower. You know, our program of sorghum started in 2005, and today we have an objective of 10,000 art growers in 2016, which basically will benefit of all the sorghum. How they benefit? Any sorghum they are going to produce this year will be sold to the brewery, and the brewery pay them cash. So that's the sorghum, the art grower. And the art growers are organized with the nucleus farmers, and the nucleus farmers come to the brewery. That's the first part of the value chain. The second part of the value chain is that we brewery, we process the sorghum, we transform it into the beer or the maltina, and that go to the end consumer via first of all the transporter, our local transporter Sierra Leone. They will get business, more business, and then they go to our key distributor, or also Sierra Leone. They'll get more profit, and at the end it reaches to the outlet and the consumer. So the whole value chain will definitely see the positive impact.
Turn the news, look at the main points again. Sierra Leone's Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria expresses gratitude to President and his Barack Obama, the government and people of Sierra Leone for securing his release from kidnappers. Sierra Leone joined the world to observe World Population Day. Parliamentary Oversight Committee on Transparency expressed dismay over deteriorating conditions of tech work centers in Kabbalah. And residents of Ilcott Road expressed concern over the delay in the construction of the Ilcott Road. But that's all in this edition of News Hour, broadcast live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. On behalf of my news editor, Abraham and Sarah, news producer Judith Sana, I am Doreen Kalohko in Freetown. In case you missed all about our programs, please send us an email to contact us at slbc.sa. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely day. God bless you.